You're now listening to the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. And now your hosts, Christian and Chris, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports.
But welcome into the Cerberus Gridiron Podcast. I am your host, Christian, and this is your co-host, Chris Camp.
What up, everyone? Thank you all for joining. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.
Oh, yes. We're going to actually have a nice, entertaining podcast this time. We're actually going to be talking about some of those wide receivers out there.
Yes.
We're going to be talking about them ball catchers.
Last week was the running backs. This week we're going wide receivers.
Yes, we are. So let's go on and get to it. We are going to get in here.
Let's bring up the ADP.
Yep. All right. So here we are. We already know, like, this year has like the tables have turned. It wasn't like the last couple of years, and we already know why. The league has gone pass heavy. And since the league has gone pass heavy, we are seeing these wide receivers getting drafted like high. Like, I'm talking about where the running backs used to be. That's where they're going now. Because as you can tell right now, we already have Justin Jefferson getting drafted 1.1 overall. Then we also got Jamar Chase at number 2. So, LSU back-to-back. It's kind of interesting how that's going to end up finishing. Then you also got number 3, Tyreek Hill, who is also getting drafted at 4.1 ADP. And all this data that we are getting, it is from Underdog, one of the best sites out there for best ball. So if you ever think about going out there trying to play some type of best ball games, Underdog is where you need to go. And then at number 4, we got Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, he had a little ankle injury last year, but we already know what was going on with that. With him having his team not really being successful at all. Quarterback tossed it up, and he was like, what's the point of me going out there just to play? Mm-hmm. But he's going to get back into the swing of things. He is at number 4 right now. Maybe he might go back to number 1. We'll have to see. Then at number 5, we got the guy, Stephon Diggs, who is having daggone marital problems with his QB, Josh Allen.
Yeah. Killing Smalls.
They both are not on like speaking terms almost type of deal. But he's still getting drafted at 7.7. Then the next person is A.J. Brown. He is being drafted at 8.5. And he had that connection, just came out of nowhere last year. Everybody already knew A.J. Brown could be this good wide receiver. But then he got traded over to Philly. Him and Jalen Hurts had that chef kiss that I'm talking about, like that connection out there, like spaghetti and meatballs. Then at number 7, we got CeeDee Lamb, who is getting drafted at 10.3.
He finally breaks the top 10. Let's go.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens this year. Kellen Moore is gone. So what's going to happen? Like, they also brought in Brandon Cooks. So we should be able to see if this connection is actually going to be even good. And can CD finally take the reins and be what Dallas wanted him to be once they drafted him and gave him that daggone number 88 jersey?
Then he did not want. Let's not forget about that. He didn't want that 88. But I do think I think he's going to eat this year. I do think he's going to eat.
Oh, really? You think he's going to eat?
I think he's going to eat. I think he's going to be – what they got him at? They got him at 7?
10. Yeah, right now this average draft position is at 7. So
he might be top 5 this year. I give him top 5 this year. I think Mike McCarthy talk all day. We want to run the ball. They're going to throw that ball. They don't have a. I don't think Tony Pollard can handle the workload as RB1 for that team.
He might not be able to handle the workload, but they do got another running back in there in Malik Davis. That is the reason why they gave him that actual number 2 spot. But then what we got at number 8, we got Garrett Wilson, who is being drafted at 12.7.
Back in the first round.
Back in the first round. early second round, still 1.12, 2.1. And a lot of people have been saying big things about this guy. I'm talking about some of the up in the Twitter streets, people talking about this dude might end up being number one.
He will not be
And
number
we
one
can
overall.
see if he will be number one because we don't know.
Not happening.
You have a different QB coming over, which is Aaron Rodgers, and there's something similar about that jersey that he's wearing, number 17. Might
He ain't
remember
DA.
that DA back in Green Bay, where Aaron Rodgers' go-to guy also wore number 17. So he might be having flashbacks of like he's gonna be the guy. Then at number 9, we got that guy that we just talked about, Devontae Adams at 13.5. At 10, we got Amon-Ra St. Brown at number 14. And then we're going to go straight down to number 11 in Jalen Waddle at 15.8. And this is going to be really interesting right here, especially with Jalen Waddle being drafted where he is. Can he take over Tyreek Hill's position as ranked number 3 with the signing and potentially going of Dalvin Cook going to Miami? Will that open up more lanes for them just to catch the ball?
I heard they did. I saw they did offer, give him an offer.
Yes, he did get an offer. And we will see what's going to end up happening down there. Because if Dalvin would be able to sign to go to Miami, he will be back at home because that's where he is actually from, the Miami area. And he's going to put on the show. And then will Waddle take over the show from Tyreek Hill? It's going to be interesting. Then at number 12, we got Chris Olave. It's very interesting about Chris Olave, seeing since the New Orleans Saints really didn't have a QB last year, and now they actually got Derek Carr, who a lot of people say that the Saints are going to end up winning the actual NFC South. And it could be right behind this connection from Derek Carr and Chris Olave. Seeing Chris Olave might end up taking over the reins from Michael Thomas this year. People say Michael Thomas is doing better, but we already know he is done. Like, put a fork in Michael Thomas, y'all. Don't draft that dude. Just sell him away. He's not even worth y'all's time picking him up at all. Then at number 13, we got Devonta Smith at 20.7. It's really interesting about Devonta Smith, especially with his height stature. A lot of people probably thought he wasn't going to do what he was supposed to do his rookie year. And now we saw last year him getting into the swing of everything and actually producing like a wide receiver too, complimentary to A.J. Brown. And what are your thoughts about that, Mr. Camp?
Since the Eagles are my team, I think that I think people sleeping on Devonta. I think top 13, number 13, 20. What is that? 2.08 ish.
Mm-hmm.
I might put T. Higgins up there, maybe in front of him, because I think Joe Burrow and them, they're going to throw the ball all over the field this year. So I might put T. Higgins over Devonta, and I'll probably. I'll put Higgins over Devonta. But everything else, I think I do think Devonta will have a pretty good year. He still have like 1,100 yards, between 10 touchdowns. I think he had 95 receptions last year, so he might have around about the same. I think it'll be about the same, to be honest.
Okay.
I think it'll be about the same.
And now we got at number 14, it is Mr. T. Higgins.
Oh yeah, 95 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns. Yeah, I can see him repeating that. I do think what's my quarterback name? Jalen Hurts numbers will go up a little bit in the passing, but yeah, I can see 1,200 yards, 8 touchdowns, 95 to 100 balls. Yeah, if that puts him at 12, 13, then yeah.
Okay. Then we got at number 14, Mr. T. Higgins, Mr. Moneybags himself. He gonna ball this year because he trying to get that paper.
He is.
The thing about it is, a lot of people thought that like he was going to be traded during the draft, but the Bengals said, we ain't trading the IDAG on number 2. We're going to keep him right there with Joe Burrow. We're going to actually try to get this daggone Super Bowl ring because they was close last year. They was close. But they lost to the Chiefs, who ended up winning the Super Bowl this past year. So we're gonna see what the Bengals gonna end up doing this year. And right now we got T Higgins at 14 per underdog at 22.8. Then rounding off like the top 15 per underdog rankings, we have Mr. DK Metcalf at 28.6. DK is DK. But I also think with DK Metcalf this year, also with them getting Jackson Smith and Jigba, it's going to be interesting to see how Pete Carroll's going to actually run that offense. Because we know he loves to run the ball based off from his USC days. Then them also drafting Zach Charbonnet. What's going to happen? Is DK going to get his numbers? Can we see DK actually get up in the top 10 this year?
I do not.
7. It's going to be hard because it is a lot of mouths to feed out there up in that Seattle offense.
A lot of mouths to feed. I mean, he had 90 receptions for 1050s and 6 touchdowns. He's not doing too much of that, especially with Jackson Smith and Jigba and Charbonnet getting there. He's not. I don't have DK that high. I don't.
So you don't think DK can get back to 1,000 yards?
I think he'll still hit 1,000 yards, barely. But I think he'll still. I think he just barely hit it this past year. Yeah, he'll hit 1,000, but barely. Not the same. He probably. I don't think he's gonna have 90 receptions.
Okay.
Jackson Smith is a better route runner already than DK is. Like I said, you got Charbonnet. I do think their offense. I think if you were to draft anybody from the Seahawks, it need to be Geno Smith.
So you think they're going to throw the ball like that?
I think they throw the ball enough. I think Geno had what he had. He had 4,200 yards last year.
So last year, Geno had 572 attempts, and he had 399 completions, which averaged out to be he had 23.47 completions a game.
You can push that at 23.7. You can push that to about 26, 27. He threw for basically 4,300 yards, 30 touchdowns. I gave him like 4,600 yards, something like that. Maybe another 300 yards. Maybe like 5 more touchdowns, but it won't be gaudy. I do think the Seahawks. I think they're going to be good this year. I think they're going to battle the 49ers for NFC. Where they at? NFC West supremacy this year. Don't sleep on the Seahawks, though. I will say that. As a team collectively and wins, don't sleep on them.
So you think DK Metcalf's target share is actually going to go down a little bit from last year at 24.6? You think he's going to be right around Tyler Lockett's where his was at 20.4?
Yep. I think Tyler goes down. I think DK goes down. Obviously, with the insertion of Jackson Smith and Jigba, and with the insertion of Charbonnet, because they're going to run 2-man backfield, but it'll be a even target share between Kellen Walker and Charbonnet. So, yeah, like I said, if you get anybody on that team, get Geno. If you want to get anybody from the Seahawks,
I agree. Unless you get one of them running backs too, especially since they're gonna run that ball. It'll make a difference which one.
I mean, yeah, right. Of course. Now, don't sleep on Kellen Walker and Sharp. I'm not saying not get them. I'm just saying if you want to get somebody first on that team, I would get Geno before I would, because I do think he's gonna have a pretty good, even better year. Maybe not completion wise, but even better year as far as yards, a little bit more in touchdowns. It won't be just a big jump, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but DK's he's gonna drop a little bit. It's inevitable. He's gonna drop a little bit.
Okay, DK gonna drop a little bit. Then the next person that we got at number 16 is Calvin Ridley, who is being drafted at around 31.9, according to Underdog's ADP, which is ridiculous. High. I'm talking about high, like Snoop Dogg high.
Way too high. How high?
Just like the movie, but. It's going to be interesting, especially since a dude that hasn't played football in, 2 years?
It's not happening. Basically, essentially 2 years, yes.
Pretty much they're trying to say that this dude is actually going to be possibly a tier one wide receiver. Not going to happen. So
Not happening.
he might be a good wide receiver too, but
Christian
it's
Kirk should be
shocking
ahead of
that
that.
Christian
Christian Kirk
Kirk
should be ahead of
and him are on the exact same team, and they're being drafted a whole round after each other.
them. Mm-mm. Disagree.
Maybe,
Disagree, underdog. You got it wrong. They got it wrong.
maybe underdog's saying something. Maybe there's something out there up in that water that like we don't understand.
What do
We
they
ain't
see?
drinking right. Maybe they
They
drinking something good, but
they saw a little 4-day, 5-day mini camp is what they saw. Like, oh, he's back. No, he's not. Trevor has a rapport with Christian Kirk, so he thinks no. And he set out 2 years.
at number 17, we got Mr. Debo Samuels being drafted at 33.9.
Too high.
They done got it wrong again.
I don't have
The
Debo in my top
same
20.
two people that are back to back should be flip flop. Attention everybody, we are not, I repeat again, we are not getting the same Debo that we saw out there 2 years ago. He already got paid. He already got that money. I'm talking about he got paid. So we ain't about to see that same Debo.
Too high.
Do not draft him. Take him
Not
off
this
the
early.
list.
Drop
At
him
least
down.
not this early.
Right. Drop him down to the 50s, 40s. Drop him down.
So do you think they should actually switch positions? It's kind of interesting how things are actually being played out. Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. Oh, I would definitely draft Brandon Ayuk before I would. Yes, Debo. Yeah. That's, you know what? Yes. From 33.9 to 52. Yes. Brandon Ayuk first. Of course. Yes.
At number 18, we got Amari Cooper, who is being drafted at 34.3. This is actually interesting here because we know that they had Deshaun Watson just coming back playing football after what was like a year and a half. But Deshaun Watson coming back, they might be able to get another connection. It's going to be interesting seeing what the Cleveland Browns end up doing this year, especially since the word out there on the street is that they're trying to get DeAndre Hopkins just to sign with them.
Really? See, I didn't know that.
Could that work out with them up in their favor? Yes, no, maybe. I guess we're just going to have to sit back, relax, and actually see. Then we got Old Man Rivers at number 19, Keenan Allen at 36.8. We all know Keenan Allen he's a good wide receiver, but he stays hurt.
He's a professional route runner, though. He's a
That
professional
dude
route
stay
runner.
hurt.
Just got to stay healthy. I agree.
Then at number 20, we got Christian Call Me Watson at
Too high.
39.5.
Too high.
Which is going to be really interesting here. Now, since we got Aaron Rodgers leaving, is he going to take the Rams and actually take over that number one spot that's pretty much given to him already? Can Jordan Love actually produce and get him to that tier one status that everybody's so coveting him about and wants him to be? Who knows? We're going to see that.
No, I don't think so. I think that Romeo Dobbs. I think Romeo. Remember how Armand Ross St. Brown came 2 years ago, and like he led Detroit with receptions. I think that's how it's going to be Romeo Dobbs. I think Romeo Dobbs is Jordan Love's go-to guy on that team. I think that the Packers, they're going to run the ball a hell of a lot this year. They're going to put him in Jordan Love in some play action passes, but yeah, they're not. He's throwing, you said Geno threw 23.7 attempts a game. Put Jordan Love around like 20 times a game. He's not throwing that much. They're going to run the ball. So I would look at A.J. Dillon as having an increase this year. A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones is in catching a little bit out the backfield, but they're not going to. Christian Watson, he's too high. Not just yet, because I don't trust Jordan Love yet.
So if we're just using what Aaron Rodgers did last year, Aaron Rodgers had 542 attempts.
And that's not fair.
350 completions.
That's not fair, Christian. You can't do that.
Hey, it's not fair. I'm just saying. I'm just giving you the attempts. So that means that he threw the ball
How many times a
514
game?
times.
How many times a game? What's it? What was it?
That is 31, pretty much
Oh,
32 attempts a game.
hell no. No, bring that down to like 21, 22, 22 tops a game is where Jordan Love is going to break. So that already diminishes Christian Watson's value. Really, any wide receiver on the Green Bay Packers. But so if he stays throwing the ball 22 times, I bet you that Romeo Dobbs getting anywhere from 6 to 8 targets a game. Watch me.
All right, y'all out there, like, comment, share. Which one of y'all think is right? Would you take
Tell me I'm right.
Christian Watson, and you think Christian Watson's going to be the guy, or do you think Romeo Dobbs is going to be the guy? Leave it right down there up in the comments and like let us know who's right and like who's wrong.
From a target share standpoint,
I personally think Christian Watson is going to be Mr. Watson himself, and he's going to be around and take over that number one role.
But see, it's not a knock to Christian Watson; it's a knock to Jordan Love. That's who I'm knocking. So let me be clear: I'm not knocking Christian Watson. I'm knocking Jordan Love. That's who I'm knocking.
So you saying they not going to throw the ball 500 times this year?
No, hell no. 31 times a game? No. Like I say, 22 attempts a game for Jordan Love. They're gonna run the ball. They're gonna the share between rushing and receiving is gonna be like 60-40. 60-40.
Oh, so they're going to turn into Seattle then.
Yes, not until Jordan Love shows them that he can. But I don't think he's gonna do Geno numbers. Geno had 4,200 yards basically.
So you're trying to tell me Jordan Love is going to throw, and you said 22 attempts a game. Mm-hmm. Jordan Love is going to throw 374 attempts, and that's all.
Yep. I'll round up to 400. Yep. Yes. Geno had 4,300 yards and 30 touchdowns. Jordan Love's gonna be around 3,200 yards and 22, maybe 25 touchdowns this year. Like 3,200. I might get him 35 as a hot, but yeah, he's not throwing that much.
Shoot, Aaron Rodgers only had 3,600 yards, almost 37.
Man, but he had a lot of attempts though. That's crazy.
And based off your logic, if they're going to be running the ball more, that means they should be able just to control the clock. But if they're actually getting blown out, then they're going to have to throw.
Mark my word. You know what? We need to start because I'm over here. I predict a lot, so I need to write down my predictions so we can see how right I am at the end of the season. That's what we need to do.
All right, y'all. Y'all let us know also. Should we actually start writing down our predictions? Yeah. Y'all let us know. Let us know down there up in the comments and everything. We're going to actually get along. At 21, we got Jerry Jeudy, Mr. Jeudy himself. And we ain't talking about Judge Judy. We're talking about Jerry Jeudy at 40.4. I don't know what to say about this guy right here. And Russell Wilson, too. And then Sean Payton. This whole Denver Broncos thing is, I'm just trying to understand it. Trying to see what's going to end up happening out there. I don't understand the Broncos and like what they're doing right now.
You know what? I don't either. What did Jerry Jeudy? I looked earlier. Jerry Jeudy had. What did he have last year? Jerry Jeudy stats were 67 receptions, 972 yards, and 6 touchdowns. I'll give him. I think he's the number one guy on that team. I'll give him maybe 80 receptions, maybe 1,100 yards, maybe 8 touchdowns. He'll be better. He'll be better than what he was last year. That helps.
Shoot, man, the rookie might come and take his spot, Mr. Marvin Mims himself.
Marvin Mims, I was high on Marvin Mims as a rookie. I mean, it's coming in at the draft.
Yeah, it's Mr. Marvin Mims himself. Then at 22, we got Mr. Free Agent taking his time, DeAndre Hopkins at 42.3. It's actually interesting right here, seeing where he's actually going to end up and seeing what he's actually going to end up doing. Like, does he want to go for the money? and just get the bag because it might be his last big payday, or is he gonna settle and take the bare minimum just to get a ring? What are your thoughts right there?
DeAndre Hopkins. We talked about this in episode 1. He needs to go to Detroit Lions. He does not. I mean, he's made some money. I think he's making like $22 million this year. Whoever gets him or whatever. So he needs to go to where he can at least be a playoff contender.
Mm-hmm.
Who did you say you mentioned someone early in this episode about wanting him? Who did you say?
DeAndre? You talking about the Browns?
The Browns. Ugh, I don't like that. I was kind of high on Amari stepping up. He goes there. That's gonna put them. And see, I like Elijah Moore there too. With him, I like Elijah Moore. I don't know if they need DeAndre Hopkins. I do think that they're going to be better, right? I can't remember how many wins they had last year, but the Browns will be better. They will fight for that AFC. We got the Steelers. Is it okay? So it's Cleveland, Bengals, Steelers, and the Ravens. That's gonna be a tough division.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough division. I can see all of them making the playoffs, which they probably won't. Well, maybe not Kenny Pickett. Pittsburgh Steelers, yeah. Pittsburgh Steelers finished 4th. Bengals finished 1 between the Ravens and the Browns. Who's gonna finish 2? That's gonna be a tough one. That's gonna be tough. I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be tough.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting.
I think Deshaun Watson, he gets back to form.
Okay. Then at 23.3, we got Mr. Drake London at 43.6. Is he finally going to take over that daggone number 1 spot and jump up into that top 18 tier?
Yes, he will. I think people sleep on the Falcons. I have the Falcons. I looked at the future today. I almost put it on there about the Falcons to win that division. They're better than the Panthers. They're better than who else is over there? The Buccaneers. The only person you got to fight with are the New Orleans Saints. And they might be better than the New Orleans Saints. Don't be shocked. Don't be shocked. The Falcons surprised some people. I think they had 7 wins last year. I think they had 6 or 7 wins last year. Don't be shocked that they finished season 9-8, 10-7 this year. And I think I actually have Drake London in my top 15. I have him finishing 12. 12 sneaks in at 12 overall to be a wide receiver 1.
Okay.
Drake London, the last 4 games, I think Desmond Ritter he started the last 4 games of the season. Drake London averaged 9 targets a game. Now I know Pitts was out, right? And I do not like the way they use Pitts, but I think Drake London, expect a big jump from him. Let me see. What was his stats? Let me look at his stats. What was Drake London's stats?
So Drake London, his rookie year, he was ranked 46th overall with 4 touchdowns, 866 yards, which his fantasy value ended up being 35. It ended up being wide receiver 35.
So he did not score a touchdown when Desmond Ritter was playing those last 4 games, but he averaged 9 targets a game. So I'm gonna give him. If I had to give him, I'm gonna give him 72. I'm gonna give him 90 catches this year, 18 more catches. I'm gonna give him. He's gonna break 1050, and I'm gonna give him 6 touchdowns. I'm gonna give him DK numbers. I think DK was 95, 1050, and 6 touchdowns. I'm gonna get the Drake London, and I'm gonna get Drake London. I got him as my 12, but I can definitely see top 15 for Drake London.
Okay. Then at number 24, we got Mr. Scary Terry McLaurin at 44.2.
Who knows? I don't know. Who knows?
And this is gonna be interesting to see what the Eric Bieniemy can end up doing with him. Can he actually get this guy and vault him? Because we already know he has the skill set just to be a number 1 tier wide receiver. He just ain't had no QB.
Quarterback.
Same as like another wide receiver that we're gonna talk about in a
Yeah.
couple of spots
I
below.
already know who you're talking about. I already know. The flip flop that we suggested earlier. I'm sure.
It's going to be interesting to see what he can end up doing. Can he vault to actually a tier one wide receiver? Then at number 25, we got Mr. Mike Williams, got his money, and now he can play hurt himself at 45.7.
I have no idea. I have no idea. I do think Keenan Allen's going to eat in that offense with Kellen Moore, as long as he can stay healthy.
What
I
about
don't
the rookie?
see Quentin Johnson. He's going to get some
Mhm.
tick. He's going to get some burn. But obviously Keenan Allen's the go-to guy, and he's going to continue to be the go-to guy. And Mike Williams going to play 12 games this year, I guess. And Quentin Johnson going to get when he's out. Quentin going to do some things when he's out.
Okay. Then at number 26, we got Mr. DJ Moore, now newly faced of the Chicago Bears, number one wide receiver. And everybody been talking about this dude too as well. Same playing field, just like Scary Terry.
Yeah.
Can Justin Fields help him and vault him to that number one status that he was supposed to be up in Carolina, which he was, but he never got to that tier one status where he was consistent with those touchdowns.
I have DJ Moore in my top 15. I think he makes a leap. I think now I'm a Justin Fields fan. Full disclosure, I'm a Justin Fields fan. I think San Fran should have got him at 3 when they picked Trey Lance. But I think everyone said, "Oh, they're going to run the ball. They're going to run the ball." Da, 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 which they are. But I think in that offense, he's going to be the go-to guy. He's going to get what did he do last year? You have it up?
Who? DJ Moore?
Got it. He had 63 receptions, 888 yards, and 7 touchdowns. Oh, he's breaking that. He's going 80 receptions, 1,100 yards, and he's going to have double-digit touchdowns.
About Justin Fields. He had 318 attempts last year, which only ended up being 2,242 passing yards on 17 touchdowns. Can they bump that up? Can the offensive line finally help him out this year?
So he has to, right? He has to take that. He has to take that jump. He has to take that leap. He has to be better. You said 2,200 yards. He's got to be over. He's got to be around 3,500 yards. He's got to make a big jump this year in the passing for them to be effective, for them to be competitive. Has to. I think he will. He'll be year 2 in that system. I know they run the ball a lot, but that's because I think they were just babying him. Surely he's getting more of the playbook. He has to make. I think he's going to make it. He's going to. Hey, now I am not high on their coach. He's a defensive-minded coach. I don't necessarily like defensive-minded head coaches, but he might make the jump that Josh Allen made. It's a mouthful. He might make the jump that Josh Allen made when he got Stephon Diggs.
Is that a bold take?
That's a bold take. You know it. Before the season starts, I give my bold takes. In the past 2 years, I hit him on the money. I'm 2-0 my last 2 years of my bold takes.
Okay.
That might be my bold take.
Yeah, y'all, we're gonna end up getting a little prediction down there. So each time we throw out these predictions, it's gonna end up being very interesting seeing what's going to end up happening and everything.
You have to. Yeah. So I'm high on DJ Moore. I have him in my top 15 this year.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a big DJ Moore fan, especially since he was up on the Carolina Panthers, but I really love him going to Justin Fields, even though it was hard to see him go, but I think the connection there is going to be very impactful. I'm talking about like impactful where this dude is ranked at 26, might be still of the draft type of deal, ranked up in the tiers.
Mm-hmm.
Then at 27, we've already talked about this guy. We got Christian Kirk at 48.3. It's interesting seeing how the Jags offense is actually going to be this year and how everybody is forgetting what Christian Kirk did last year up in their offense. I'm talking about the dude did some miraculous things last year that nobody even thought of. that like he was going to end up doing. But he's being drafted crazy. I'm talking about like crazy, y'all.
Too low, and Gabbard is too high.
This dude had 133 targets on 84 receptions for 1,108 yards and then 8 touchdowns last year. And then out of nowhere, which ended up being a 22.3 target share. But what's interesting about it is that he's being drafted lower than his counterpart, which they got Calvin Ridley with the 5th round pick from the Atlanta Falcons. Possibly could end up being a higher, maybe 4th round, 3rd round, depending on if he meets some type of yard stats and everything. So they're saying that, and these are the 3 guys that was actually in that system. We got Zay Jones, we got Marvin Jones Jr. Marvin Jones Jr. had 81 targets, only on 46 receptions, and only ended up being 529 yards, which is like, And then he had 3 touchdowns. But he had a 13.3 target share. After that, we have Mr. Zay Jones at 121 targets on a 20.3 target share on 82 receptions, on 823 yards and 5 touchdowns. So we can see that, okay, who Mr. Trevor Lawrence started to feel a lot more, especially based on the targets and in the gaps. And they all played the exact same amount of games, besides for Zay Jones and Marvin Mims, which they only missed 1 game. But they still played 16 games, which they should have been doing a lot better. But then we got Christian Kirk, who had 133 receptions, like I said previously, on 22.3 market shares. So pretty much they're trying to tell us that Calvin Ridley is going to take Christian Kirk's numbers and then add half of what Marvin Jones did, which would end up being half was pretty much they're saying this dude's going to end up being 1,300 yards on maybe like 10 touchdowns.
Really?
Yeah. If you where he's getting drafted, if you're seeing the stats that they have right now from last year, that's how I'm seeing it as. And I don't think he's going to get 150 targets. Maybe 160 at the most, if he does get that. And I don't think he's going to get 1,300 yards this season.
He's not. He won't even break 1,000 yards. He didn't break 1,000 yards when he was with Atlanta Falcons. So much think he's going to break one this year after being over 2 years. No, it's not happening.
Then at 28, we got Mr. Brandon Ayuk at 52.3. This one is going to be really interesting because who's going to throw him the ball? I mean, who is going to throw him the ball? I don't know who's going to throw him the ball. Do you know who's going to throw him the ball? Now, I want to see what Mr. Trey Lance is going to end up doing out there. But we don't know because he's still recovering, and he's going to be battling Mr. Brock Purdy. And shoot, he might even be battling Mr. Sam Darnold for a daggone starting QB.
Do not let Brock Purdy not be healthy for week 1 or training camp in week 1. If that happens, Trey Lance is going to start. I was talking to Nigel about this. Trey Lance is going to start, and it's going to be tough because he's going to probably win some games. It's going to be tough for them to go back to Brock Purdy after Trey Lance. Let's say he's, 5-2, something like that. They're going to be in a bit of a pickle, and I'm here for it.
Okay. Then at number 29, we got Mr. Chris Godwin at 55. Ain't much to say about this guy. Just don't draft any Bucks wide receiver. Personally, I am not taking him. I'm not touching him with a 10-foot pole because if they got Baker Mayfield throwing him the ball, you saw what Baker did to Dago DJ Moore last year. Do y'all want that same?
I think Godwin is the number 1 target person in that receiver room with Baker Mayfield.
Still not touching him with a 10-foot pole. Chris Godwin did 104 receptions on 142 targets, which ended up being 1,023 yards, which ended up getting him, if we're talking about PPR leagues, ended up getting 222.8 PPR points.
wide receiver 18. He had 3 touchdowns. He probably have 104 receptions.
So you trying to say that Dagon Baker is Dagon Brady now? Brady,
No,
a bad Brady.
what I'm trying to say, if you get anybody out of that from the Buccaneers, it need to be Chris Godwin because I think he'll have the most target share. This is what I'm saying.
I agree with that, but he ain't gonna be probably like a tier 3, tier 2 back end.
I mean, yeah, I don't think 104 receptions. I give him like 80 receptions. He should have still broke 1,000 yards and he have a few more touchdowns. But yeah, if you get anybody, get him. But reluctantly get him.
And rounding off the top 30 is Mr. Hollywood Brown at 59 average draft position. It's going to be interesting out there in the Cardinals because we already know what's going to happen out there. They are going to suck.
Tank City. Was it Tank for Caleb?
Tank for Caleb.
Tank for Caleb.
And hopefully he does not do this. He might pull his cousin and just walk off that field because of how bad that they're going to be.
Is that really his cousin, Antonio Brown? Are you just saying that?
Yes, that's his cousin.
I had no idea. It was his cousin. Interesting fun fact for today.
Wait a minute.
I had no idea. I mean, right? So this is fantasy, right? And so we know target share matters, volume matters, right? And I think Hollywood Brown, he's the only one out there for the Cardinals, right? So he's going to have a huge target share and a huge amount of targets, no?
It's not about him being the only one out there. It's going to be who's throwing him the ball.
Even still, though, right? I mean, it could be anybody. Somebody.
So this was DeAndre Hopkins last year, and this is with him not even playing the full season. He had 96 targets on 64 receptions, which ended up being 717 yards on 3 touchdowns.
Bro, I'm sorry. Say it again, because I was trying to. What's his real name?
Who? Marquise Brown?
Marquise.
Now, I just said DeAndre because we already know DeAndre's been released from the team. So I'm giving a perspective of, okay, he had, in 9 games that he played, he had 96 targets, which if we want to calculate this up, we could calculate it up.
Targets in 9, oh my God, in 9 games. Wow. That's 10 targets a game. Oh my goodness.
It's 10.6 yards a game. And Marquise, dude wasn't even healthy last year. Played 12 games and ended up having 107 targets for 67 receptions.
But he's going to get the targets. He's going to get D-Hop targets. He's going to catch 80 balls this year. He's going to catch over 1,000 yards. He's going to get like 6 or 7 touchdowns. They're going to suck, but he's going to get that just because they have nobody to throw the ball to. I know they drafted some rookie or something that was pretty good. I mean, even Davis Mills, right? What did the wide receiver from down at the Texans got last year? He's going to catch 80 balls this year. If you get him on your fantasy team, like I said, you have a better year than Godwin. He'll probably have a better year than Mike Williams. Yeah, because Mike Williams will probably be hurt. He's gonna probably have a better year than Christian Watson. Come on.
Just so I can put
better year than Debo.
So I can put what you just said to rest.
Really?
So pretty much you said what Davis Mills did in the Texans. So the number 1 wide receiver out there was Mr. Brandon Cooks, and he had 93 targets on 57 receptions, and he played in 13 games and ended up only having 3 touchdowns, which being a target share of 16.1.
What did he
So you really think Hollywood Brown is going to end up doing something similar or even greater with a no-name QB the team is tanking, trying to get Caleb?
I'm not saying he's going to be good. I'm just saying he's going to demand. He's going to get the volume, and he's going to get the largest target share. out of the Cardinals. So by default, he should catch 80 balls this year, 1,000 yards.
Man,
And
I
six
got some honorable mentions,
touchdowns.
and I know for a fact they're gonna probably do better than him.
I think you're wrong, Christian. I think he's gonna do better than Cameron Ridley. I think he have a better chance than Cameron Ridley. Mike Williams, who's gonna probably be hurt. Debo Samuel, which like you said, he got paid. He iffy. Christian Watson, because I think they're not going. I think the Romeo Dobbs is the guy there. I just think target share and volume. I'm not saying he said 59. What draft order is it? What 59 divided by 12? 60 divided by 12, 50. So that's 50. That's
round.
right before the fifth round.
Or not 5.11. It's like 4.11. 4.11.
4.9. I got it at 4.9. 59, because you would go to divided by 12, right? I tell you what round it be.
Yeah.
4th round, 9th pick, 4.9. I'm not saying, I do think that's a little high. But I just think that just by pure volume, he's gonna get some numbers. They're gonna be shitty. He might have 100. He might have 120 targets. Because who else they throwing the ball to? You know what I'm saying? So if he got 120 targets, he gonna catch 80 of them.
Who they gonna throw a ball to is that rookie out there, Mr. Michael Johnson from Stanford.
That's his name. The one that from Stanford. Oh, the Cardinals drafted. I don't even know who the Cardinals drafted. I don't even know. So that's the top ADP for underdog.
And don't forget that this episode is sponsored by your one and only Mr. Cerberus Fantasy Sports, where you can get all your stats, videos, highlights, playbacks, all top 22 film, campus to Canton. Go on and check out Cerberus Fantasy Sports. Right now, it seems that their website is actually under construction right now for the stats wise, but they are pushing out some dope articles right now. So go and check them out whenever you get a chance. And also, don't forget, if you feeling this video, if you feeling this podcast, go and give us a thumbs up and a 5-star rating. And some honorable mentions that we have to talk about is Mr. Michael Pittman, Jordan Addison, Tyler Lockett, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Mr. Jahan Dotson. And like I mentioned before, all 5 of these people, I think personally they can do better than Mr. Hollywood Brown.
And I obviously disagree. I think JSN won't, just because he's got DK and Tyler out there. I think Jordan Addison, Jordan Addison, yeah, because you got JJ over there. Addison will. Jahan Dotson, no. Michael Pittman, I'm not sure if his repartee with AR5. So Anthony Richardson, that I'm not sure about. Tyler Lockett, so he'll do better. JSN, Jahan Dotson, and maybe around Michael Pittman, depending on their repartee.
Okay. Let us know down up in the comments who's right, who's wrong. Tell me who of these 5 that you think is going to end up doing better than Mr. Hollywood Brown. Personally, I think all 5 had the potential to, even though I'm kind of putting out there Jackson Smith and Jigba. We know he's a rookie. We know they're going to be throwing the ball a lot. I personally think he can do better. We can actually go back to the stats if we want to. But personally,
a lot of mouths to feed over there. I mean, I would give Jordan Addison and Hollywood around the same numbers.
But you also said that if we're just going off what happened last year with Mr. Geno Smith out there, Mr. Gunslinger himself then made sure he got that contract. I mean, this dude was sleeping up in that cocoon. Dude ended up coming out of nowhere. And you said this year, what you think he's going to get 4,600 yards? Okay, right?
About 5 more touchdowns.
About 5 more touchdowns. And I'm automatically going to do this right now. So you tell me if I'm right or wrong. This might be a bold statement right here. I don't think this has ever been done before. But if we're redoing this and doing it similar to what you said, so what's that, an extra 4,600? Mm,
300 yards, 300 some change.
so right now that
He's at
means that
42, I think.
yeah, I can see. So pretty much what I'm looking at right here is Mr. Marquise Goodwin's receptions and everything. His target share was only 7.3.
Marquise
Which
Goodwin, you mean Marquise Brown?
no, Marquise Goodwin.
I believe
He's
you
the
talking
third
about
wide
Hollywood.
receiver for the Seahawks because we're talking about
Oh, okay.
Jackson
Okay,
Smith and
go.
Jigba.
Okay,
So
go
I
ahead. What
have
was his
Jackson
numbers?
Smith and Jigba taking his stats, but then
Right.
also taking what you said a little bit earlier about him and
Summer
everybody coming down.
days, summer travelers.
So that's averaging like an extra 300, 400 yards, which would get him around 800 yards as a rookie. But then you did say that you do think DK might drop a little bit, which it might go to everybody's been saying that Jackson Smith and Jigba was the best wide receiver in the draft. We're going to
Agreed.
see if it's going to produce out there on the field as the best rookie from the draft. Y'all let me know if he is or if he's not. Let me know. Because, hey, I think he can be that dude.
So,
But are they going to make him that dude?
what was Marquise Brown's numbers again?
Marquise Brown's numbers was he had it in 13 games played. He had 42 targets, which ended up being a 7.3 target share on 27 receptions, which I think personally, Jack Smith and Jigba is going to blow those out the water, like straight out the water. And ended up being 387 yards on 4 touchdowns.
I think JSN will go. He only had 27. I think JSN will go 45, 50 receptions, 600 yards, and probably 6 touchdowns. I'm going to give him 6 touchdowns.
I think he's going to do around like 800 yards.
I don't think he'll do 800. Not because he don't have the talent, just because they have just a lot of mouths to feed.
Hey, that's a bold statement right there. 800 yards as a rookie.
That's a big statement because I don't think he's going 800 yards. Yeah, I might give him 4 touchdowns, maybe 4 to 6 touchdowns. I don't think he's going. I just don't. It's just too many mouths to feed there. If one of them, Tyler or DK, get hurt, well then yeah, eat up, buddy. He gonna eat up.
But we also are talking about if he stays healthy, that's only 47. We can round it up to 48 yards per game.
Yeah, I hear you. You talking about at 800? I hear you.
Yeah.
That's gonna be high in that offense for him as a rookie coming in. I'm gonna tell you that now. And I think Gina's gonna do numbers, but yeah, that's just a little too high. I need one of them to get hurt. I need Tyler or DK to get hurt or trade them.
In the next segment, we are going to the right price. And this is the segment that we actually talk about what is the actual right price from the actual ADP that we saw by Underdog. And we're thinking, when we say the right price, we're talking about you actually going into the store, seeing that sale, seeing that discount, and knowing good and well that you done got to steal.
They had a lot of wrong prices, that's for sure. We did not
already know. Mr. Calvin Ridley was actually on that list of the wrong prices.
Wrong prices. I think that Gary Wilson at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can see Gary Wilson, CeeDee Lamb. I think CeeDee Lamb is 7. Those are 2 good right prices. I think Devontae's a little bit high. He's at 9. Amon-Ra at 10. Agreed. Jalen Waddle at 12. Agreed. 11. Agreed. 12, 13, 14. Devontae at 14. I can see that. They got a lot right, but they got a lot wrong. I think they missed on some wide ones, right? You know, I don't think Tyreek's gonna be able to. Well, if I had to say, I would say if I had to say on the money, did I agree with them? CeeDee Lamb and Gary Wilson. Them being at what 89, 7 and 8. CeeDee Lamb and Gary Wilson. On the money. I agree with those. On the money.
Okay.
And
Me
Ron at
personally,
10 on the money. Go ahead.
I like digging deep down in there. I'm talking about deep down in there.
I don't know the numbers off the
And
dome.
the right price is daggone Mr. I'm talking about Chef Kiss himself, Mr. Cooper Cup.
So you think
Coming
Cooper
out there
Cup
off that injury and
4?
being right
Ooh.
at that number 4.
So from 4, go from 1 to being like 50 to back to 4.
Yep. Let's
I
uh let's take
I
a
got
dabble. I'm talking about like
I got him
let's
in
go
my
deep
4
down
too.
in there. Like I was saying before, let's go deep down there
I have
and
him in
think
my
about
4.
some of these rookies out there. And let's see if they actually being like prime example, Mr. Zay Flowers being drafted at 90.2, wide receiver 46.
Probably
I think
right.
that's a good area for him to be drafted at.
That's
Right
probably
price.
right. That's probably right. I think the more numbers will go up. I think Bateman's gonna be healthy, hopefully for a fuller season. But you got Odell there. It's a lot of mouths to feed. So yeah, that's probably right.
Okay. And now let's go and talk about this top 18 wide receivers versus ADP. There's a lot of people out there. These are not in no particular order.
Right,
Just
because
talking
I'm gonna
about,
shoot. I'm gonna shoot that down.
just not in no particular order. But we got in my top 18, I got Cooper Cup, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, Tyreek Hill, CD Lamb, AJ Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jalen Waddle, T. Higgins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Chris Olave, Amari Cooper, Devonta Smith, Terry McLaurin, Christian Watson, Brandon Ayuk, and Jordan Addison.
Oh, Jordan Addison
And the
cracking it
reason why
from
I said
18.
this, I said, I know there are a lot of good wide receivers out there that are missing. I know this. But these guys have the potential to be in the top 18, which means like some people have got to take a slip and fall. One big name person people out there probably talking about is Mr. Stephon Diggs. I understand. I know this dude. But if we go back and we actually think about Brandon Ayuk, Jordan Addison, not saying that these guys are better than Stephon Diggs, but I think that they can have the potential to be better this year with all that controversy with him and Josh Allen going on right now. It's like an old married couple going back and forth. And you know how old married couples go. Eventually they're going to end up hashing it out, hopefully before training camp starts.
Hopefully,
But we don't know.
they will. He'll be
And as
training.
of right now, Stephon Diggs is not in my top 18 because they got that little feud going back and forth. But things can end up changing with that if they end up getting back together again before training camp.
They will. Not worried at all. I realized you did not have Stephon Diggs in there. Did you have? You mentioned Devontae Adams not in there either, right?
No, I did not put Devontae Adams in there because I do not trust Jimmy G
I
this
kind
year.
of agree with that one.
And the way Devontae Adams has been talking and everything right now, I personally feel for the guy. And he's trying to get out there just like Derek Carr, but he understands he can't go nowhere. So he's strapped in there, ain't moving anywhere.
I'm not gonna get over it. They pay him the bag, so he's not. Yeah,
So let us know about your top 18 and everything. And we already know you, Mr. Perfectionist. You try to have your list 1 through 18 and everything. So let's see how everything's gonna fall.
I do. So I got Jamar Chase is 1, Justin Jefferson is 2. I have Stephon Diggs is 3. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, right? Cooper Cup at 4, CD Lamb at 5, Garrett Wilson at 6, AJ Brown 7, Tyreek Hill at 8, Amon-Ra 9, Jalen Waddle at 10. Drake London sneaks in at 12 as to end out their wide receiver 1. I I think people are sleeping on the Falcons. I think they're gonna have a high-powered offense. They're a quarterback away from being a playoff team, and that's what I feel. 12 DJ Moore, 13 Keenan Allen. This is me saying Keenan Allen will stay healthy a full season because I think his contract is almost up. So if he all he needs to do is be healthy. He'll get the targets if he's just healthy. So Keenan Allen at 13. No, Keenan Allen at 14. Oh, Keenan Allen at 13. Amari Cooper after that. Then I got DK Metcalf. Then I got Chris Olave, Jerry Judy at I think 17. I'm still gonna put I was going to be trying to decide between Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, or Devonta Smith. Is in those last three spots to finish. But I have Devontae Adams, T. Higgins, and Smith. T, I might move up a little bit because I do think Joe Burrow is going to
T up there.
MVP. So if I were to move him up, I might move him above DK Metcalf. So he'll be at 15, then DK, Chris Olave, Jerry Judy, Devonta, and Devontae. But yeah, I was more than 18. It's like top 20. That's my top 20 right there. But the biggest shock was Drake London sneaking in as a wide receiver 1 and DJ Moore sneaking up there.
Yeah,
I think those two are going to be the biggest jumps.
Yeah, I think my biggest ones out there are not having. We already know Stephon Diggs in there, but Mr. Christian Watson.
Yeah,
being
I
in
just
there.
don't see that. Just don't see
And
that.
then
Christian.
also seeing Mr. Jordan Addison leap in there, which personally I think he's going to take over for Adam Thielen. He's going to win that number 2 job.
Oh, hands down.
Which is going to end up doing the similar numbers when Justin Jefferson came in as a rookie, but not killing like that, but taking the place for Adam Thielen's numbers whenever he was in there. And we can bring up those. Talk about those stats that they ended up doing, which ended up being.
Gotta get the right year. What was that? 2020? Was it 2021 or 2020? No, this is just in the 30, so that'd be 2020. So, that was the year he had 14 touchdowns, though. He had 74.
Had 14 touchdowns.
74 receptions.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It's like if you're taking away those touchdowns, at least cut it in half and just flip it.
I agree. Yeah.
He can't get 74 targets, 925 balls.
Yes. And 7 touchdowns, 8 touchdowns. Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And yes, everybody out there, we understand. TJ Hawkinson is there now. But did y'all not see what Jordan Addison did out there in college? He's going to translate that and he's going to fill that void as that number 2 wide receiver. Personally, I think
he should eat more because you know they're going to double JJ. So him and this is Kirk. This is Kirk last year.
Yep.
He's going to try to play for one more pretty good contract. So, and they lost Dalvin Cook. We're going to see what Madison's going to do, but yeah, they're going to continue to throw the ball a lot.
And in the next segment, we are going to jump to this best thing ever.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. First of all, you're not going to speed past that like you didn't just say what you just said.
In this segment, we are going to talk about that thing that just made you say, wait a minute. I'm talking about, we already know one guy off gate was that us seeing Calvin Ridley at number 16. That made you say, whoa, wait a minute. I know good and well, we all know that Calvin Ridley, like we said before, shouldn't be drafted at 16 overall, according to Underdog's ADP. What are people doing out there? What are people thinking? Personally, never do it.
Please don't do it. Please don't do it.
Is there a guy out there that you think besides for Calvin Ridley that made you pull that or anything up on the pod that we end up doing that said, wait a minute? And please do not say nothing about no Stephon Diggs and everything up in the top 18.
Well, that was your wait a minute. That definitely should have been a way. Man, how you gonna put Stephon Diggs, who has led the league who's number 2 in the league in targets since he got to the Bills? Really? Stop. Behind only Devontae Adams. Yeah, that's a big way to man. You almost as egregious as them put Calvin really in the top 18.
Well, that was the Wait a Minute segment.
Yeah,
Brought to you by Cerberus Fantasy Sports, where you can get all your fantasy sports ideas, blogs, videos, highlight videos, rankings. Go and check out CerberusFantasySports.com to get all the latest and greatest. Episode 4, be prepared to look out for those QBs and seeing who we think is going to take the Ram and take that crown. He already said one guy in Mr. MVP Joe Burrow bold statement this year.
We'll win MVP.
Getting that.
I don't know if that's too bold, but I do believe Joe Burrow is going to win MVP this year. And I'll give my reasons why next week. But yeah, I think he's going to win MVP this year.
All right, y'all. We'll see you next week. Don't forget to like, comment, share. Give us a nice little thumbs up, a little nice 5-star rating up on the podcast. We'll see you next week.
5 stars. You have a good week. You have a good evening.
Stay blessed, everybody.
Thanks for checking out another episode of Cerberus Gridiron Podcast, powered by Cerberus Fantasy Sports. Make sure you stay tuned for the next episode.